We had applications from all 9 years of programming and have enjoyed the re-engagement with so many of them. Our goal for this season was to meet the nonprofits where they are and provide them the opportunity to create a video that was unique to their organization's story while also supporting their mission. The organizational leadership worked with our videography team and coaches to design and create the video that they feel best meets their organizational needs. So while we always wish we could be in person, we're thrilled to provide you this closer look at our alumni and their updated stories through this virtual format. Before we begin, I'd like to take just a quick moment to say thank you for the ongoing commitment and engagement of our sponsors, Re-Emprise Fund, Ally Bank, Cardinal Innovations Healthcare, McGuire Woods, and Beacon Partners. Also, a huge thank you to our SVP Partner Steering Committee for this season, lead partner Debbie Darden, Jen Davis Martin, who you heard from just a minute ago managing our chat, Scott Brennan, and Michelle Amoroso. A quick note that our event this evening is being recorded, so we welcome you to share it out with your networks after the event tonight. So our plan for tonight is to meet 3 of the 9 selected nonprofits from this season. We're going to view their video premieres and provide you the opportunity to ask questions at the end of all the presentations. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our first cohort, Jack Sheehan of Assist ME, Dr. Madeline McClenny Sadler with Exodus Foundation, and Emily Parrish with Children's Attention Home. As I mentioned, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentations. Just drop your questions in the chat like you've been doing. And as I mentioned, you can direct them to everyone if you'd like to openly, or you can address them to our lead partner, Debbie Darden. So first up is Assist ME, the C20 class of 2015, coached by Carrie Tornicello.
Assist Me started back in 2014. We decided that there's a lot of need in the Charlotte area for medical equipment. The biggest single item are standard manual wheelchairs, but we also do bedside commodes, tub transfer benches, shower chairs, but then we also occasionally do a power chair or electric chair, do a hospital bed or a patient lift, that kind of thing. And we do it for no charge, free of charge. So we've become pretty much a mobility safety net for the people in Charlotte. We serve low-income, uninsured patients, people under 65. We serve some children, and those are always very touching situations that, you know, no kid should have to suffer a lot of medical challenges, and some of them do, and we're always so happy to provide equipment for them. And then you see the whole range to even younger cancer patients, veterans, homeless people. You always come away from it appreciative of your own good health.
We're really thankful we were associated with Assist ME, and we were looking for a place to donate Dad's wheelchair after he passed, and they've been great to work with, really accommodating, and couldn't be happier with how the process has worked, and they make it so easy.
I just got out of the hospital, and they told me that at the hospital I couldn't go home unless I had a wheelchair for safety. And then the hospital told me about Assist ME that could provide a wheelchair without me having to pay for it when I couldn't afford it. And so I can be home. I can be home and get better.
So I got into a really bad accident a while ago, and I spoke with my doctor, and he recommended that I needed to get a wheelchair and some other equipment. But at the time, I just didn't have the resources to do that.
Most recently, we had a 11-year-old boy, spinal cord injury, cervical level, meaning he can't move his arms or legs. He had no ability to bathe or toilet or shower. And Jack came through, delivered the piece of equipment to the front of the hospital, and that family reaches out to me monthly to tell them how much that meant to them.
If you want to see different ways that you can help, our website is www.assistmenc.com, but you can also follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. There was a blogger who was a paraplegic, and he had said, "Don't call me wheelchair bound. This is what gives me freedom."
Thanks so much. So joining us tonight, we have Jack Sheehan. Would love for him to share just a couple of minutes about your organization and the reason for your video. Again, as I mentioned, we gave everyone the opportunity to create the video that was unique to their organization for this year. So Jack, I want to turn it over to you, and then we'll touch base on a few other things. So Jack, if you'll unmute yourself and start over, we'll be all set. You had to go first. Somebody has to go first, right?
Yes. What can I say? But we're very grateful to be here. This has been an excellent opportunity, and it's consistent with the support that we've gotten from Seed 20 from the very beginning. Assist Me takes in gently used medical equipment, and we gift it to low-income uninsured patients. And 17% of the adult residents in Mecklenburg County are uninsured, and many more are underinsured, meaning their policies don't cover the mobility or medical equipment that they need. And so we started out the first year, 2014, with 37 residents we served. Last year it was 395. And with that kind of growth, we've really had to scramble to keep up. One thing that's changed because of that, and it was made possible really from the Seed 20 award, is that the donated equipment has grown in volume, but not as fast as the request. And so we have done some fundraising to fill that gap, so we never have to turn anyone away. And we are grateful for the opportunity to have the video, because it kind of shines a light on the problem, first of all, of uninsured here in the Mecklenburg County area, but it also gives us a chance to attract the resources we need, both in terms of the donated equipment, the financial resources, and also the volunteers, because there's a lot more work now than there was in 2014. And so we're very grateful for that. And Seed 20 all along has been helpful, not just with the award, not just with this video, but in between every step of the way, that seeing all the other nonprofits, I always find inspirational. And additionally, they've been able to provide guidance for us, because when we started out, we really didn't know anything. We just knew getting some equipment and giving it out. And there's so many other things to really make it be a sustainable organization, and it's because of Seed 20 we've been able to progress to where we're at, and we thank Seed 20 for that as well.
Thank you for that. Yes. So I just wanted to touch base with you on a couple of things. One is, as you look to 2021, what are some specific challenges or needs as you've seen, you mentioned the organization growing. What specific challenges or needs do you think that Assist ME is going to be facing over the next year or so?
Well, there's two things, Heather. One of them is, and it's ironic, when I first gave the talk on the Seed 20 stage, we were looking for space, that all we had was something way out in the sticks, and it was primitive. And we've since then solved that problem, but then as it turns out, we're going to lose that, one of those key spaces. And so we're working to generate the resources to replace that space, because especially during the pandemic, we've operated throughout the pandemic with a no contact process. We made a number of changes to be able to do that. And but then that space uptown is critical to what we're doing. And so that's one of the things. And then the other thing, as I've mentioned, in terms of the growing, we've grown, the requests have grown faster than the amount of donated equipment coming in. And so there'll be some additional funds needed to get the equipment. We probably made 3 orders in the month of January alone. And if it wasn't for that, we'd have turned people away. So those are the 2 things that we need to address during this year.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned definitely growth being a challenge. And so that obviously means that you're making big impact though too. What kind of impact is your organization having on the community overall?
Well, there's 2 aspects of it. One of it is personal. When you think of, what you would do if you were in the hospital and had no insurance and getting out and needing that equipment, and you need that independence, you need those tools to recover quickly and let you get back to work. But also, when people have the equipment they need, they're 85% less likely to fall, and they're 85% less likely to be readmitted to the hospital. And so just imagine you're in the hospital, you get out, you fall, you're back in the hospital. You already probably have a crushing financial burden from the first visit. And now you're going to be in more lost job time. And when you translate that into dollars into the community, because in the end, the whole community pays for uninsured care. And we're reducing that burden, as well as giving people that feeling of independence that is so important, just human dignity.
Thank you. Thank you for the time to share that with us today. A reminder for anybody that has questions for any of our 3 nonprofits or for the C20 program overall, to just drop them in the chat for us, and we will circle back on all of them at the end. So thank you, Jack. We're going to move next to Exodus Foundation, C20 class of 2012, coached by Kathy Bradley.
Sorry about that. Hang on 1 second.
There is so much suffering in the world caused by hate, and criminals
Hey, Scott, can you stop?
people that we have
We
permission.
can't see the screen.
All right, I'm not sure why. Let me try it one more time. All right, share sound.
There we go.
All right.
There is so much suffering in the world caused by hate, and criminals are the only group of people that we have permission to hate. They were victims before they did harm. No one showed up and stayed. So in most cases, they tried to survive sexual abuse and physical abuse, post-traumatic stress, isolation, and addiction.
The criminal justice system creates more suffering in its cages. It separates families, destroys future income, and bankrupts hope. At exodusfoundation.org, we recreate family. We build future incomes. We make hope real and solvent. With our support, formerly incarcerated Exodus mentees are starting their own businesses, earning higher degrees, raising their children again, and influencing policy. Our mentees moved from prison and jail. 90% have not gone back.
Ex-prisoners return to prison within 5 years after being released without someone to be with them daily and walk them through.
When you come out that prison system, you need a lot of help.
We walk with them day and night. I know because I walked that path myself.
Highly trained Exodus mentors stand with them in court. We teach mentees how to fill in new patient forms and apartment applications. The staff provides job placement, educational scholarships, and wraparound support, including a conference designed for people with records and their loved ones.
In 2015, I was honored to be the outreach coordinator for exodusfoundation.org, where we kind of organized this kind of multi-city effort to go to Washington, D.C., where we were able to have a congressional symposium discussing how to commute and the impact mass incarceration has had on community.
When I was 15, My principal called me to his office and he handed me a letter. I didn't know anyone who had been to prison. Soon after, I accepted a call to ministry, and I knew the letter was a signpost and a cry for help. The book of Exodus in the Bible describes how Moses and Aaron freed enslaved Hebrews from cruel and unusual punishment.
Heroic efforts require at least one strong friend. Katniss had Peeta, the Black Panther had Shuri, Batman had Robin, and Moses, real-life Moses, had Aaron. Will you accept the call to be our Aaron and stand with us financially as we stand with returning citizens? The need is 1.5 million to build, to scale, to train 1,000 mentors. Join the movement at exodusfoundation.org. There's too much suffering in the world, and together we can end it.
Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to introduce Madeline McClenny, Executive Director of Exodus Foundation, and turn it over to her to share a little bit about her organization and a little bit about the reasoning and understanding and explanation behind her video.
Well, thank you, C20, for this opportunity. I've had some great coaches twice now. We were part of the inaugural class, and that was fantastic in helping us develop our pitch. So I founded Exodus in December of 1999, and we're a movement to transform public health and safety through providing highly trained mentors to people who've had contact with the criminal justice system. So as the video showed so well, Mr. Stoner, Rodney, thank you. We offer, in addition to the one-on-one mentoring, the staff provides some wraparound services in conjunction with the partners that we have here in Charlotte.
Perfect, thank you. So you mentioned being part of the inaugural class, and so how has your C20 experience and being part of the alumni network impacted Exodus Foundation overall?
Oh my goodness, so that pitch has taken us a long way. We've updated it probably biannually, and we require staff and board members to learn most of it. And so we have taken it on the road, and it has done us well. And contributed to our growth. And then the workshops that we've been able to attend have been, continuing professional development and education for us.
So you shared a little bit about the mentoring model, and you made mention to that. What makes the mentoring model at Exodus Foundation unique and effective? What have you found that's working?
One of the reasons we're so effective is because we spent 4 years planning and organizing, making sure that we were using evidence-based best practices. I was trained by a leading Canadian criminologist named D.A. Andrews, and he's the one that's responsible for a lot of the lexicon or vocabulary of criminology today, and has laid the basis for reducing returns to prison, which we call recidivism. And so our mentoring is specifically designed for people who've been impacted by the injustice system. And so it's uniquely Exodus mentoring and addresses the care needed by people who face trauma before they went to prison, during prison, and after prison.
Thank you, Madeline. At this time, I'd like us to finally move to Children's Attention Home, which is the class from the C20 class of 2017, coached by Rose Lee.
Come on.
They have actually helped me a lot. It's a judgment-free zone. You can be yourself. You can make lots of friends.
A few of the ways we help residents that come to the Crossroad program is giving them the basic necessities.
Staff listens to us by pulling us aside and actually taking time to understand what we're saying.
Somebody like Ms. Ashley has really been on top of me about saving more than I spend so I can eventually get out and get my own apartment.
If you have any questions or you just want more information, then give us a call, go to our website. We're here to help.
Thank you. All right, so Emily Parrish, Executive Director of Children's Attention Home, you're up next. Just share a little bit about your organization and tell us a little bit about the marketing approach that you took for your video.
Okay, thank you. So the Children's Attention Home has been in Rock Hill for over 50 years. We've served children who have been victims of abuse and neglect. And about 3 years ago, we identified an increasing need for programs and services to serve homeless and at-risk youth and teenagers. And so the Crossroads program at the Children's Attention Home was born at that point. And the Crossroads program serves children ages 17 to 21 who are currently experiencing homelessness, who do not have stable housing, or who are at risk of becoming homeless in the future. We meet all of their basic needs, shelter, of course, food, clothing, transportation, educational support. We do job training, and we really just work individually with each one of the children at the Children's Attention Home to help prepare them to be successful, independent young adults. And this was great timing for us because we are really focusing on marketing to the teens and the youth population in our community. It's a difficult population to reach at times. They're kind of hidden in plain sight. A lot of them do not consider themselves homeless. They may be couch surfing or staying with friends. And so we really have been spending a lot of time thinking intentionally about how we can reach those children and reach folks that know about these children because they need our services, and we want them to know that we're here so that we can serve them better.
Thank you. So what was your process for making this video? That's a lot to fit into 1 minute. And I know that was one of the team's goals was, hey, teens above everybody else have a short attention span, right? And we also wanted to be able to fit it on social media and really be able to share it out broadly and have it be working through what is hip and cool, right? And so what was kind of your process for making this video?
So we absolutely wanted it to be hip and cool. So we had to kind of go to the source for that. And we spent a lot of time talking with our children. We did want it to be something that could be shared on social media. We wanted it to be very intentionally marketed to the kids. So we had focus groups and we talked with them about what would attract their attention when they're scrolling through, what would cause them to stop. We also talked with them about what the children's home means to them, how that should be portrayed. And they were incredible. They gave us such good feedback. They really wanted something to be bright and optimistic and hopeful. They used the word opportunity constantly. So that was a big theme for us because this is an opportunity place for them. And they see their experiences at the children's home as a very positive place for them, as a very positive next step for them. They were also really specific about how they wanted to be portrayed. And again, they're young, they're hip, they're cool, they're teenagers, and they absolutely do not want to be portrayed as stereotypical homeless people. And so we wanted to take that message and we wanted to really be reflective of the children that we serve, programs that we offer, and we wanted to kind of carry that tone and that theme through the video. And again, I think Rodney did an incredible job of capturing the feeling behind all of the feedback that the kids gave us.
Thank you. Well, thank you to all three of our alumni participants. We are going to take a quick, like, little fun interactive break before we do a full Q&A of our participants. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to have a poll. And the first question we have for you is, what does the seed, S-E-E-D, in C20 represent? What does it stand for? And we should have a poll up here. Can you guys give me a thumbs up that you're seeing it? Perfect. Thank you.
Give you 10 more seconds. Hurry up. I know it's a tough choices if you really don't know. So let's lock them in. Okay, if you haven't chosen now, you got to click it down because the poll is now ended.
No.
And the results? Almost half got it right.
Okay. All right.
So 47% chose correctly. It stands for Social Entrepreneurs Empowered.
Yes.
Followed closely behind by Strategic Entrepreneurial and Economic Development, which is a huge mouthful, but also very creative choice.
Also very creative, wouldn't you say? Yes. All right, great. Thank you for participating with us. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our Seed 2021 lead partner, Debbie Darden. She is going to share a couple of your memories. I know Jen Davis Martin was able to capture a few for us as well. She's going to share some of the top ones that looks like we're kind of recurring. And then she's going to share with you also her favorite memory. And I have been pinged twice now to share mine. So I'm going to let Debbie go first and share a few that were kind of at the top of the pile, and then hers as well.
Well, I think one of the first of all, thank all of you for joining us tonight. We're so glad to have you here, and we're so excited for our alumni, and very, very grateful to sponsors. And of course, Rodney, videos are just fantastic. So I think one of the consistent themes in the memories is how polished and confident the presenters were during the Seed 20 onstage events, and also there was a lot of conversation, or there was a lot of remembering favorite coaches, favorite coachees, etc. Lynn Marilla said that one of her favorite memories was when the coach had her get up on the stage, walk around, shaking her arms, swinging her arms and her hands to release stress. So they really got her going. And also the fact that seeing her, the cohesion that grows among the cohort, that's a mouthful, being so excited to see her friends that she's met through Seed 20 in her class get up there and present. You really get to where you are pulling for each other, which is just such a great collaborative atmosphere. And in that vein, she met Noelle McCall as a coach and encouraged her to move from coach to participant the next year. And Noelle did that and is the executive director of Patriots Path, and is still going strong. So those were some of the cool memories that popped up that weren't previously related to you. My favorite memory, I have tons of them, but because I've been around from the beginning, but I think year after year after year, the memory that just exhibits Seed 20's DNA to me is when Harrison Marshall gets all the Seed 20 class, and this is during the training, up on the stage, and he talks about each one, or he does this little speech where he doesn't say, Patriots Path did this or Exodus does that. But he talks about y'all are treating recidivism. You are treating the homeless. You are lifting up this. And when he goes through that and you see those 20 people standing in front of you, you realize how much they are enriching our community. And it's just a privilege for us in Seed 20 as the organizers to be able to work with all these amazing nonprofits and to bring their stories to the Charlotte community. So it just gets me all teary when I think about it. It's just such a powerful moment. So that's my favorite memory. So enough of that. And I think, Heather, you have to give your favorite memories now.
I do. So thank you for that, Debbie, and thank you for sharing it. And also, Debbie is too kind to not share that she was one of the original founding partners that brought Seed 20, or the fast pitch competition concept, to Charlotte. So a huge thank you to her and her ongoing dedication to this organization and its signature program year over year. So my favorite memory still remains, and it's the same memory every year. So that's easy to remember. But for those that have not been to Seed 20 on stage, and even for those that have, there are no props allowed, nothing allowed for the participants. It is them in front of an audience of over 800, standing on a stage by themselves and sharing something that they're most passionate about. So in between that is almost complete silence in between each 3-minute pitch. So on the wooden stage, you can hear their footsteps come on and the deep breath that they take before they begin to deliver their pitch. And to me, that has always just been, you can feel the weight and the compassion and the energy and everything in that theater all at one time, every time before every pitch. So for me, it's the same thing every time. And so 10 times a year, and it's fabulous and I love it. And so that's got to be my most favorite memory and takeaway. So, all right. So we're going to do one more poll. Mark, prepare yourself. We're going to do one more poll, and it is asking you how many years you have attended C20 on stage. I see people thinking and counting on fingers. Good news, it only goes up to 9.
Count quickly. You get five more seconds to decide how many times you think, your best guess on how many times you think, without going over how many times you've been here.
Without going over.
Sometimes we tend to over exaggerate. So your best guess without going over. Okay. Quite the range, actually.
Perfect.
So we have a lot of new folks, including me. I'm Kristen Beck, the Executive Director for Social Venture Partners, and I can't wait to go next year and hear that clicking on the stage. But we have, so 44% of those of us tonight have not yet been to an on-stage event, but are going to be
fantastic.
So we're glad to have you, and we can't wait to enjoy this with you. Followed next by 31% have been between 1 and 3 years. 15% have been between 4 and 6 years, and a whopping 11% have been there 7 to 9 years.
Nice. Thank you for that, Kristen. I appreciate it. So very exciting. I look forward to seeing you all next year. Our goal, as I mentioned previously, is to be back on stage for 2022. More information to come on that. So, but let's go ahead and shift back to our 3 nonprofits for this evening. And I'd love to go ahead and open us up for a little Q&A session. Debbie, do you want to kind of lead us in that for some of the questions that have popped up?
I can start us off. If we could get each of the nonprofits, if y'all would, Jack, you could go first. If you could tell us how can our audience tonight, all these newbies to C20, some veterans, how can our audience best help each one of you? So Jack, if you'll start.
Okay, well, thank you, Debbie. We are an organization that's very lean. We're all volunteer, donated space. But as I had mentioned earlier, we do need to raise some funds to replace some space that we're on the edge of losing due to some renovation and construction. And we also have an ongoing need for the donated equipment. I think people have stuff in their garages or attic, or that kind of thing. And someone just told me today that the pandemic has caused people to kind of clean house and get stuff out. And so we're more than glad to put that equipment to work, because it is sometimes equipment goes into the back of the SUV and never makes it to the storage place. It goes straight, gets cleaned up and goes straight to a patient. So those would be the two things where we would need help.
So on that note, Jack, someone has asked if you take crutches, and also my question would be, do we go to the website to contact you? Is there a place on there? How do we get in touch with you? I have some crutches too.
Well, we do take the crutches. We found that we're very driven by what the social workers and case managers ask for, and they don't ask for the crutches very often. But about a year ago, we found another nonprofit that takes equipment Guatemala. And so Joe comes in about once a quarter. He has a pickup truck, and we fill it with walkers and crutches. And it goes to people that are going to benefit, not in our community, but there. And there's going to the website, and either you can contact us through there. Our phone number's there. It's a 704-659-1123, and just call. And we also have a dealer who's a big help to us, Mobility and More, on the south end of town. And they serve as a drop-off point. So there's no need for an appointment. You can go by there and say, this is for Assist Me, and they hold it. And once or twice a week, we go by and pick it up.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, Madeline, next up, how can this audience help you?
Join our mailing list on our website, www.exodusfoundation.org. Become a monthly giver on our www.exodusfoundation.org. There's a donate button there. And when we issue the call, once you're on our email list, when we issue the call to recruit 1,000 mentors, you'll get that invitation. And coming to an orientation does not obligate you to become a mentor, but you learn more about what that means and take it step by step from there.
Great. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Emily, how about you?
So we always need financial support. We rely on private donations and grants in order to support this program and to support the children. We, like everybody else, please follow us on social media. Please go to our website. There's a lot of different ways to be involved. We're trying to be very creative during this time. And then again, like we talked about with the purpose of this video from the beginning, is to try to raise awareness. And so we're really trying to grow partnerships to reach people that have connections to children that may need these services. So if you know of folks that spend time with teenagers, or you know of teenagers in situations that could potentially be bad, then please let them know that we're here and that services are available.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. To that end, you mentioned social media. All of you received, or most of you should have received a sort of know before you go email this morning. And I believe Heather said she'll send out another one that will have the links to the videos. But all of the social media tags for each nonprofit are listed on that program. So you can see under each nonprofit their social media tags. Okay, there were two questions earlier. I answered one maybe out of turn, but someone had asked, when can the new season of nonprofits apply for the next C20? And so typically we're hoping for the fall. I'm a huge optimist, eternal optimist. I'm fully convinced we'll be able to gather again next year and do our usual Seed Pro in-person coaching, and then have our big event in the spring of 2022. So look for, look for in your emails, look for social media for advertisement about application periods. Typically it usually starts early September. So that's when to apply. And how may we see the videos again? So Heather, could you cover that?
Sure, yeah. So as Debbie mentioned, I'll be sending out an email to follow up with everyone that includes the program that Debbie mentioned for this evening, as well as all contact information and this video recording of this event, as well as the live links for the videos for each nonprofit. So you'll get all of that information packaged over to you following this event this evening. There was also a question, I think, really quickly, just about the C20 process. If that's okay, Debbie, I'd love to address that for just a second. It was a question about the application process, I believe. So in addition to what Debbie mentioned for the timeline of the application being in the fall, there's also, as we mentioned, there's an application, pretty standard, and then we go through a selection process and select the 20, and the 20 are selected by our SVP partners, who are volunteers through the Social Venture Partners organization. So really excited to, as Debbie mentioned, be able to begin sharing that back out with everybody this fall. So definitely be on the lookout for that opportunity coming around.
Okay, we had another question from one of our super duper wonderful coaches that says, if money were no object, what would you do to reach the mission of your nonprofit? So we'll go backwards this time. Emily? If money were no object, what would you do to reach the mission of your nonprofit?
I think we would continue what we're doing. I think with unlimited resources, it would go directly into the children, and that's where we are right now. We work with the kids to get cars and documents, and we can fund apartments to put them in to help them transition through, and we can give them all of the services that they need to really prepare them for the future. And that's where we are right now, is trying to make sure that children are not lacking as we put funds together, because that's what we're here for.
Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Madeline?
If money were no object, we would, and this is part of what our 1.5 million will help us do, but it's going to require more. We'd automate the training that we have so that we could train more mentors remotely. And then we would hire more missionaries to support the mentors, and award many more scholarships. And our scholarship recipients have taken their scholarships and pursued MBAs and graduate degrees. So, and we'd provide more housing support, and then we'd replicate around the state and then around the nation.
That sounds great. Yeah, that's it. That is a big plan. That's great. Jack, what about you? If money were no object, what would you do to reach the mission of your nonprofit? Uh-oh, gotta unmute, dude. There you go.
Just goes to show I'm a slow learner. The overall mission for what we want to do is make sure everyone in Mecklenburg County has the medical and mobility equipment they need. And this mission has just kind of grown on its own. People ask, what has been the plan to grow? And it just, God's kind of pulled it along. But if we were to try to get everyone, because I know there's many that still need the equipment that don't get it, that we would expand out our reach into other hospitals, more into the community. If we had, the equipment right now, we're a little cautious about it because if we generate more requests, I mean, we have trouble keeping up now. And then in my very secret dreams that seem beyond comprehension, there's really not a reason to do this throughout the state. The kind of our model up in Virginia operates in 6 cities. And, I have no idea how we would make that jump, but, having locations in Raleigh, Asheville, Wilmington, because there's no doubt there's need in those places. So I'm good at dreaming as long as I don't have to write the check right now.
Well, no, thank you so much for that. And just this might also be a little out of turn, Heather, sorry, but I think on the heels of that question, I would just encourage the audience to, if you see something you've loved about these organizations, hop on their websites and donate, because that's what'll help them make their missions even more of a reality and reach more people than they are now. So
absolutely. Thank you all so much again for sharing. Just in the interest of time, I just want to go ahead and kind of wrap up a few things for us. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. As a reminder, you'll receive the attendee email with details and contacts for everyone, all of the nonprofits that you've seen here tonight. Thanks again to our sponsors whose support has enabled us to provide this program for our alumni. We are also thrilled to offer monthly workshops for all of our 160 alumni nonprofits from our community partners this year. So Charlotte is Creative, Brown Cow Web Design, Michelle Bowden with WCNC, and Tamara Park with Story Now have been invaluable resources for our, and continue to be invaluable resources for our nonprofits. So lastly, a final thank you. You've heard a lot of thank yous to him this evening, but a final thank you to our video partner, Rodney Scott with Rodney Scott Media, for taking each unique vision and creating a product that every nonprofit can be proud of. So a huge thank you to him. If you're interested in learning more about the C20 program or Social Venture Partners, please reach out to me, or she introduced herself as well, our Executive Director, Kristen Beck, through our website. And finally, if you will, we'd love to have you back. Join us for 2 more live conversations on March 11th and April 22nd. You can register for those at c20.org and also find out information for who's going to be participating and our next 2 cohorts that we have coming through. Finally, we have 2 lucky C20 2022 ticket winners. And so for those for tonight, I'll be following up with you via email, but they are Meg Parker and Kathy, and I hope I'm not messing this up, Bolduc. They will each receive 2 complimentary tickets to C20 2022. Ooh, we're gonna have to practice that on stage. So thank you again to everyone who has joined us this evening and taken time to join us in this virtual platform. And we look forward to not only our next 2 live conversations, but more time together, hopefully in person this fall and next spring.
Thank you, Heather.